Running from the Movies by Arizona Kerrigan in Insects Globalization Sustainability Lab, Section 006, with Abby Ording. I'm Arizona Kerrigan, and I am a senior at Michigan State University. There have been numerous studies on how different media you are consuming can change the experience and proficiency of your exercise. One study is called The Relationship Between Cardiorespiratory Fitness and Physiological Responses to Film. This experiment included two kinds of films and the patient's physiological responses to those films relating to their fitness levels. The fitness levels were determined from their physiological responses to an exercise task. The effects of music, television, and a combination entertainment system on distraction, exercise, adherence, and physical outputs in adults. 50 male and female subjects were studied while they exercised and consumed some form of media. The media options were music and television with changeable channels, only music, only television with 4 non-changeable channels, and a control condition. There was a significant difference when it came to the physical output in which the mixed media group surpassed the rest. Psychophysiological effects of television viewing during exercise is the third study. The experiment involved 3 kinds of bouts of exercise with certain conditions. The first condition is a self-selected TV program. The second is a pre-selected program, and the third was no TV program. Both sessions where the groups were able to watch TV, even if they had no choice of what they were watching, had higher distraction rates and enjoyment levels, while the third kind with no TV program had higher dropout rates and lower satisfaction rates. So all of this led me to my research question and hypothesis. My research question is, does consuming different genres of movies cause a better physical output during exercise on an elliptical? And then my hypothesis is that when I run on elliptical, horror movies will have the best output time. Here are my methods of data collection. The tools used include exercise clothing, an elliptical, and elliptical technology. I watched 10 movies and ran on the elliptical for a full mile while being timed by the elliptical technology. After I'm finished, I record the time it took me to run the full mile and what genre of movie I consumed. I cannot include photos for proof though, as there's a strict no photograph rule at Planet Fitness. Yes, I asked, and they gave me a hard no. I used descriptive statistical analysis to describe the data collected and make assumptions. My sample size was 10 sessions of running with 10 different movie genres and times. The 2 confounding variables that I focused on handling were my energy levels and clothing worn. To combat my energy level, I assured that I had similar levels of energy through sleep and water and consumption as well as caffeine consumption. So I drank the same Alani, which has 200 milligrams, and I made sure to drink at least 1 cup of water before I ran, and I made sure to sleep at least 7 consecutive hours. As for the confounding variable of clothing, I made sure to wear yoga shorts of the same materials and a big t-shirt each day to be able to combat any change of results. So here is my data table. On the left side we have genre of movie, and on the right side we have my mile time in minutes and seconds. For the first one is horror, which had the lowest time of 15 minutes and 53 seconds. Next was comedy that had the time of 17 minutes and 34 seconds. And then we have rom-com, which has 17 minutes and 28 seconds. And then we have drama that has 16 minutes and 51 seconds. Thriller had 16 minutes and 19 seconds, which I noticed was pretty close to horror, which I don't think is a big surprise in this situation, as they're very close in genre. For indie, we have 17 minutes and 56 seconds. In the kids movie section, we have 17 minutes and 37 seconds. For sci-fi, we have 16 minutes and 48 seconds. For fantasy, we have 16 minutes and 51 seconds. And for documentary, we have 17 minutes and 9 seconds. Next, we have my graph. On the top, you'll notice the title is Movie Genre and Mile Time to help describe what's going on here. On the bottom, on the horizontal axle, you'll see that it says Movie Genre. On the vertical axle, you'll see that it says Mile Time as a way of, explaining kind of what's going on here. So the two things that are being focused on obviously are how long it took me to run a mile and what genre of movie that I was working on. The mean is 16.787 for this, so horror movies do fall way below that, and I think that should be noted. There was a significant difference for horror movies than any other genre, having been the quickest mile with the least amount of time out of all 10 movies. As well as my R2 value, though, is 0.0409, which means there's no relationship between genre of movie and physical output on the elliptical within a mile through that part of the data. So I think that should also be mentioned and put into our understanding of what's going on here. So to look back, I said, does consuming different genres of movies cause a better physical output during exercise on an elliptical? And my hypothesis is that when I run on an elliptical, horror movies will have the best output time. My hypothesis can be supported through my results of my data in my graph. The only thing that I think refutes the differences is my R2 value, but I do know that the horror movie time being lower is a bit of an oddity, so I think that has to be put into consideration as well. What would I do differently? If I were to do this experiment again, I think I would change just a couple of things. The first thing I would change would be the part of the movies I ran to. Instead of starting in the beginning of movies and only making it about 15 or so minutes in, I would probably start a quarter of the way through to truly dive into the genre's characteristics. As many know, movies start a bit slow. You don't always really get until like the genre specific parts until you're about a quarter or so way through the movie. And I think that would actually make a huge difference. Furthermore, I would do more trials of other people who say they enjoy one genre over the other to see if possibly the results had something to do with my favorite genre being horror. Maybe someone who likes comedy would run faster to comedy. Is it a sense of enjoyment, or is it a sense of maybe the thrill of horror movies and the adrenaline pumping? That's a question that I cannot answer, but would really like to. Here is my bibliography. Finally, I would like to thank you all for your time today and for your attention to my work. And you may contact me at carrig25@msu.edu. Thank you.